Hello again, friends. I am back with another chatty get ready with me. I literally just got back from Florida, so this is me like sitting down to film for the first time after traveling and piercing. So of course, I'm doing one of these because I just love these so much and I have so much fun with them. Also completely unrelated to this video, but I finally got my title in the mail, so just went today to go and get my car registered at the DMV here in Pennsylvania. I have been trying to do this for like 3 months now since I moved here, and once again we couldn't do it today because their system was down this time, and I just want to know why everything ever involving cars is like literally so terrible. Like, why is the DMV or like tags or titles or emissions or inspections literally always a nightmare? I just want to know, like, and I know I'm not the only one for whom this is like a consistent all the time problem. So I know it's not just me, but it's, god dang, it's ridiculous. Okay, now that I'm venting about that, I just need to get off my chest because I've been like, it's just been a crazy process trying to get that done. Now I can talk about what this video is actually about. Which is, if you follow me on TikTok, you've already seen that I've started posting some like workout and fitness related content, and I am really excited to say that I am starting a new fitness journey and just like doing some really exciting things for my body and for healthy movement, and I just kind of wanted to sit down and chat about that. And a big part of why I wanted to talk about that is because I'm really open about like mental health and mental health concerns. And as many of you may know, I do struggle with an eating disorder. So the decision to like begin to explore fitness and work on getting my body physically fit and try and build like a healthy relationship with movement and working out is a really big one for me that I am really excited about, and just kind of wanted to share some of my thoughts and feelings about this journey and some of, what's going on for me, and hopefully it helps some folks. So this is a little content warning at the beginning of this video. This video is going to be discussing like eating disorders and things to do with weight and exercise and diet and just kind of all those fun topics. So if that's not something that you want to hear about, or you're not in a place in your recovery where this is beneficial for you or things like that, please don't watch this video. Or if you watch it and you start feeling comfy, please don't keep watching it. Recovery looks different for all of us, and yeah, just please honor your process in recovery in watching this. So a little bit of backstory. I have a borderline personality disorder, for those who are not aware, and I also have a lot of disordered eating habits that come in line with that. I was diagnosed with an eating disorder when I was much younger, but as I've grown up and I've like learned more about my disorders and things like that, I feel like it's like super closely linked to my BPD, and I almost feel like they're like my eating disorder and my BPD are like connected very heavily. And so I've always struggled with disordered eating and things like that, primarily on the purging side, but definitely sometimes on the restricting side. And I've been in recovery since I was 14. That was the first time I was hospitalized for it. And I've done a lot in recovery in those 14 years. Woo! Aging myself here. In those 14 years since I was diagnosed and first like went into a hospital and sought treatment, I've done a lot in my recovery with my eating disorder. Now, even with the progress that I have made, I definitely don't think my recovery has been anything linear at all. It's definitely gotten better, and it's also gotten worse, and it's kind of bounced back and forth, but it's definitely doing better in recent years than it literally ever has at any other point in my life. And thanks to that improvement, and in discussion with my therapist and just thinking about goals and stuff like that, I've decided to spend some time this year, especially through towards like this tail end of my hiatus and into my like time traveling when I have more time, to start working out and going to a gym and working on like building a new relationship with movement and working out and my body in a way that is healthy and sustainable, and also hopefully continuing to improve my eating habits alongside with that. And before I get like too far into this video and into the specifics of like my journey and my experience and my goals, I like want to discuss something that I think is really important and definitely not discussed as often as I would like when it comes to eating disorder recovery. And that is like queer and like specifically like trans and non-binary focused care when it comes to eating disorders. Because I remember being like 14 and like in my first hospitalization all the way up to my early 20s, like working on eating disorders with like therapists and mental health professionals, and like all of the resources were like so like female focused and like women focused. And not that there was like anything inherently wrong with that, and a lot of those resources were very beneficial when I needed them and continue to be very beneficial for a lot of people these days, but I felt like the focus in eating disorder recovery was always on like women and female bodies and like female and societal beauty standards, and there wasn't like a whole lot of discussion or space left for being non-binary or being trans and how that affects things with an eating disorder. And quite frankly, I think a huge part of why I finally feel like I'm in a place in my recovery to try and start like working out and doing things is because I have a non-binary, oh my gosh, a non-binary therapist now that I'm here in Philadelphia. Their name's Dr. A. They're amazing. And I just feel so much more seen in my relationship with my body and what causes me to struggle with food and eating and dysmorphia and body image, discussing this as a non-binary person and not as like a cisgendered woman. And that's actually like a really huge factor behind me like wanting to work out, and specifically wanting to work out like at a gym. Because I don't know about y'all, but like I have done like pole classes and yoga and gone for like hikes and kayaking and like things that are like physical activity and healthy movement. And those things like aren't super triggering for my eating disorder. Like obviously they can be, and they can bring up like, you know, unhealthy, like I specifically struggle with like working out in the extreme and like working out like too much and getting too hyper focused on burning calories and like working out fasted and getting lightheaded and fainting. But like a gym is just so much more triggering to those behaviors for me than like a pole fitness class or going kayaking on the lake or doing some yoga. Like the whole gym environment and mentality, and like obviously like seeing calories burned tracked on like a lot of the machines, and there's scales, and there's just like there's an environment that's very focused on it in ways that are unhealthy, and for me at the very least are more triggering to my eating disorder and my unhealthy behavior. And as an aside, I feel like I could talk for hours about like gym bros and bodybuilders and like eating disorders in men, but that's not the point of this video. But yeah, I feel like the gym really brings it out. So you know, the gym is a real struggle for me. So making the decision to like get back into working out, and specifically to get a gym membership and work out in a gym, was a really difficult decision for me to make. However, my goals this time around are, for once, for the first time in my life, not weight loss, but I am getting back into the gym and fitness and working out for two things. One, I really want to build functional strength. I started doing pole dancing and yoga again, and I would really love to be able to do like all of the fun inverts and tricks, and I want to be able to like increase my flexibility and do like splits and handstands, and I've also started doing more body suspension work with my amazing team Synthesis now that I'm here in Philly, and I'd love to also build up more like actual functional strength to help me with suspension performances that I have in mind. So there's a lot of like practical functionality. I also just want to feel better in my body. I am like super out of shape, like carrying heavy groceries up the stairs into my apartment makes me winded, out of shape, and I just don't want to feel that way anymore. The other big factor is that I have really been getting more comfortable in my non-binary identity and like figuring out what my goals are for my body, and also learning to identify and like understand where body image issues that I had were actually coming from body dysmorphia and not just general like not liking my body. Because as it turns out, cis women do not wish that they could take their boobs on and off for different outfits. And I just have a lot of feelings in that same vein that I am realizing now as an adult and as someone with a therapist who I think is a little bit more equipped to work with me on these things, that a lot of those feelings that I've had my whole life were not just general body image issues and self-confidence issues and like societal beauty standards issues, but they were body dysmorphia issues thanks to me being non-binary, and they were areas where my body was causing me to feel very dysmorphic, and that's why I was feeling bad about them. So the other goal of working out for me in the gym is some body recomposition and trying to get my body to look more of the way that I would like it to, more of the way that fits me, and just to feel happier in this, you know, meat suit that I'm stuck in life. And I really don't think this step would be possible without having a non-binary therapist. And Dr. A has been super amazing. And I spent a lot of time in eating disorder recovery listening to mantras of like, you should love yourself exactly as you are, like your body is beautiful just the way it is, like you don't need to try and change yourself, you don't need to try to fit into these societal expectations of beauty. And don't get me wrong, like 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old Lynn really needed to hear those messages, and they really helped. But Lynn at 28 is aware that the reason why I feel a lot of the unhappiness I feel in my body and a lot of the thoughts that contribute to my eating disorder are not from any of those factors, but they are from body dysmorphia. They are from looking in the mirror and my body just not reflecting who I feel like I am on the inside. And working with a non-binary therapist has given me the strength to say that, and also being in recovery for so long, don't get this wrong, don't get this twisted, but has given me the strength to say that it is okay to want to make changes to my body to suit my gender. And if you haven't already, I did a video about my experience as someone who's non-binary with plastic surgery, and that's, I think, really good to watch along with this one, because that goes into a lot of my feelings about my body and like what my goals are. And plastic surgery was like a super empowering experience for me and definitely allowed me to feel so much more confident in my body and in my own skin, and helped me realize and embrace that it is that I can love and honor my body exactly as it is now and for all of the things that it has done for me, and also honor myself by making changes to my body in a healthy and informed way that allow my body to better reflect who I am on the inside. And acknowledging these things has given me like an incredibly powerful and empowering amount of freedom and confidence when it comes to working out and being in the gym. And I will not lie, I was still like so incredibly nervous the first time I went to the gym just to sign up, and even for my first workouts. But the time of filming this, I'm about a month into working out, and I can say that this has been an experience so unlike my other experiences when it came to gyms and fitness and movement with my body. And like, obviously I've spent a ton of my life in therapy and like working with mental health professionals, and I'm very well aware of like the power of being able to name things and like name emotions and correctly identify things, and what a game changer that can be. But it's so different to like understand those concepts in theory and then to actually apply them and experience them in real life. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like it's not that I don't still have some struggles when it comes to my eating disorder in the gym, because I do. I'm not gonna lie to y'all about that. But like, I go into the gym and I am able to feel so much more empowerment and so much more love for my body. And like, I'm not, you know, in the past when I went to the gym, I was just doing cardio like all the time or lifting super light because I was just like so focused on like trying to lose weight or like make up for bad food that I ate. And now I go into the gym and I'm lifting and I'm lifting heavier weights and I'm doing these complex body movements and I'm focusing on like, wow, like my body was strong enough to use a heavier weight this time, or wow, like these sets felt easier this time. Like I can feel my body getting stronger, and that's like so exciting. And I can see like subtle changes happening in my body. I can see muscle coming into my shoulders and my arms, and that's so exciting as far as like working towards goals. You know, my goals are a more masculine physique currently, is like the best way I could phrase it right now. And like seeing those changes happening and being able to be really happy for my body and excited for my body and working out as a way to achieve that fulfillment and excitement instead of working out as a punishment or working out with the motivator being shame or negative thoughts. I'm able to work out with the motivator being like embracing my body and being my true self, and like that change in the narrative in my brain of understanding that the negative thoughts are a lot of times coming from dysmorphia, and understanding that it is okay to make those changes is like huge. And that's just not something that I got out of eating disorder treatment that was very like cishet woman focused, especially when I was younger. But it's something that I am getting now, and it's definitely been like a huge game changer. Now, like I mentioned, that's not to say that I don't still struggle with some of those thoughts, and I definitely, like my BPD and my ED go hand in hand, so when I'm having like a bad BPD day or a bad BPD week, I definitely do have those struggles, but I have a really good support system in place. I'm able to text my therapist and reach out and let them know that I'm having a hard time with food. Obviously, my partner Carl is amazing. He's there for me all the time and always rewarding and encouraging and like helping me with food and things like that. My trainer is actually like probably the biggest element of help when it comes to that. I am using Future, which is a really amazing fitness app that you can use through your phone. It pairs you with a trainer and they do customized workouts for you. And my trainer, Addie, is fantastic. I specifically chose to work with her because she also has a history with eating disorders and was a D1 athlete and obviously is like super involved in working out and training. So she understands completely what it's like to struggle with an eating disorder. And, you know, I don't want to sound like an advertisement, but also like, wow, do I love this. Obviously, like, I would love to be working with a trainer in person, but, you know, with COVID considerations and all sorts of different, there's just a lot of factors. And Addie is a really great fit for me. She's actually in Nashville, which is where I am from, but obviously I live in Philly right now, so I can't go to her for in-person training, so we're using Future, and it's going super great. And she does things like leaves me voice notes in my workouts that are like super encouraging, and at the end of every workout she like congratulates me and reminds me that I'm honoring my body. She reminds me to fuel and nourish my body, and there's just as much focus as there is on the workouts that I'm doing and the weights that I'm lifting and the exercise that I'm doing. It's paired with an equal amount of focus on healthy food, healthy fuel, reminding myself that it's like okay to eat, that I deserve to eat, that I'm like rewarding my body and like building strength in my body, and all of those things are helping me change my mindset and my relationship with movement as it relates to food and my body. Like, I truthfully cannot overstate like what a difference that has made for me mentally, and especially when it comes to like progress with my eating disorder. Obviously, like, I've struggled with an eating disorder for many years, and like it's gotten better and it's gotten worse. But if you asked me even just like 5 years ago if I thought there was a reality where I could be in a gym and working out, and also thinking about the food more intensely, because for a while what worked for me was just very intuitive eating, but now, you know, I have these goals for my body. I really want to grow a lot of muscle. That does mean that I have to eat a lot of protein. I am not calorie counting because I know my boundaries and I know my limits, and I don't think it'll ever be safe for me to calorie count. It just doesn't work that way. But like being mindful as far as like the content of my meals and actively trying to intake more protein, which does involve reading nutrition labels and does involve thinking about the content of my food a little bit more. And if you told me 5 years ago that I would be doing that with food and going to a gym and not like immediately spiraling into unhealthy eating and restriction, I would have told you that you were a liar and that that was a reality that was impossible for me. So like, can't even begin to describe how exciting for me it is that I'm at the point where these things are possible for me. And I am at that point because I've spent years in recovery, and there were a lot of earlier points and improvements in my eating disorder that I worked through to get to the point to even consider this. But also a big factor of it has been working with a non-binary therapist and like addressing my eating disorder, like with my queerness and my body dysmorphia when it comes to being non-binary centered in it, as opposed to this very like woman-centric, female-centric treatment for eating disorders, which, you know, wasn't really getting the job done for me anymore. Also working with like a personal trainer and an advisor who is like eating disorder informed and aware, and someone who deals with that themselves, to remind me to like honor my body and fuel my body, and like incorporating healthy messages about food and goals into my workouts, and really just having a group of people with me that are so wonderful and so amazing to lean on, and that I can come to when I need help or when I'm struggling, and who also understand like exactly what those struggles and issues are for me and are so encouraging of this healthier mindset. It's huge. And I hope for any of you at home, you know, whether you struggle with an eating disorder or whether you just struggle having like a healthy relationship with food in your body, because honestly, like it's incredibly common for most of us to struggle with a healthy relationship with food in your body. I hope that this video, especially for those with eating disorders, but you know, for everyone, like reminds you that it is possible to get to a level of recovery where we can do these things, that it is achievable, that there is that hope in the future for you. So yeah, I mean, my hope is really just to remind folks that recovery comes in all shapes and forms, and that there is hope out there, and that there are better things to look forward to in the future. And I know on TikTok, a lot of folks said that they were interested in hearing more about my journey with my eating disorder and this new fitness journey and what I'm doing. Folks who dealt with EDs, folks who are also non-binary or trans, and like dealing with some of these same feelings. So I'm definitely going to be creating more content about this over there. Do y'all want to see more long format content about this journey and process for me here on my YouTube? Obviously this was like a very chatty, you know, like my casual get ready with me, so we didn't go super in depth about a bunch of stuff. But are these topics that you want to see me like expand on in longer or more formal videos? Do you want to see me make videos about like fitness and things like that? You know, let me know in the comments down below. Also worth noting, I think I never want to be like a fitness influencer. I don't think I ever want to do like this is my workout or things like that. Just like my own boundary with my eating disorder and health, but I definitely would be comfortable like taking y'all along for the process with me, talking more about like the emotional and mental side of things, and also doing some videos about things like queer and non-binary representation in eating disorders and recovery, and like finding yourself and your gender identity and that like affecting your eating disorder and your mindset when it comes to food and body image issues, and just kind of like expanding on what I talked about in this. So if you want to see that, let me know in the comments down below. If you don't and you're like, Lynn, just stick to piercing, that's fine too. Also let me know that. And yeah, thank you for letting me chat about this with you regardless of how you feel. And I'm just really stoked on this journey and really excited about the progress that I'm making, and just wanted to share that and chat about that with y'all. So I can't wait till we hang out again soon. I'm gonna go film a bunch of regular YouTube videos. Not that I'm not excited for those, but these are my favorite because it feels like we're hanging out. And yeah, I'm sure we will sit down and hang out again very soon. Bye!